thing is acting weird. All right. Hello. Welcome. This is Sharepoint Power Hour. I'm Laura Rogers, and we have Joelle Jobson here on audio. Say hi.
Hello.
And Sharepoint Power Hour is our weekly show that we do on Wednesdays at 11 Central, most Wednesdays at 11 Central. And it's all about things we can do out of the box in SharePoint. We're not developers. We're not going to be writing, doing programming or anything, but we are going to be showing just SharePoint Online, Office 365, PowerApps and Flow, just stuff like that we demo every week. And this time we have a little, so to be able to chat live, that's the fun part about having a live show, is to be able to have this lively conversation going on. Let's see. And we have, so in Slack, so if you're looking at the YouTube channel and look in the description, it's the Slack channel is iwmentor.slack.com, and there's also a form that you can fill out that to join for the first time if you've never joined. And then, because we have to let you in manually. And then that's where we have a little Power Hour channel. That's where we go in and chat and have questions, discussions. So I highly recommend you all go in there and at least start off by saying hello and just pop in there. And we can talk as we go. And we also have a channel called Ideas in there that I'll type it in there, ideas to give me ideas. And you can literally just click on the little pound ideas in there, and that is where you can type suggestions for the show. So one of the suggestions in there was Christy C. said, "I'd like to see a form that has multiple views for different audiences and hierarchy of approval requirements, like a purchasing request." So we get a lot of these, don't we, Joelle? Mm-hmm. We get a lot. Like this concept is what we pretty much do all day, every day with our consulting that we do. Just a lot of automated, at least what I do. Joelle does a lot more like planning intranets and pages and publishing, and planning intranet architecture. And we both do a lot of like form requirements planning and approval processes and stuff. So that goes along with pretty much what we've done for years and years. So that's what we're going to do. And I forgot about Power Hour today till like an hour ago. So I'm going to make this up as I go along. But I have a couple of concepts that I'm going to teach you all that are really just, there is no feature called target audiences in PowerApps. And PowerApps don't currently recognize Sharepoint Groups. At least last time I researched this, like a month or two ago, they didn't. So PowerApps doesn't recognize Sharepoint Groups. It does. There are a couple of ways. Now, so what I'm going to teach you today is not going to be like the official, like this is how you do target audiences. What I'm going to teach you is just some logic and just some concepts that you can use to achieve something that has that effect. All right. So probably you're going to get on here and say, oh, well, you could do it this way, or you could do it that way, or yeah, sure. So this is not me saying that this is absolutely the only way to do it. So that's why I will show a couple of different ways. Okay, so the idea is that whoever is looking at a Power App, whoever's opening the form, is going to see different things according to who they are. So the way that I like to do it is by creating a SharePoint list. And so, there are a couple of concepts you might have. You might have a list of admins of your form that would be like the people that are like the approvers, or the person that needs to see more fields than sort of everyone else, and the people receiving the requests might need to see more fields. And so there's basically the admins, approvers, or whatever, and then everyone else. So that would be just, that concept could be creating a SharePoint list, having the approvers in it, and then just basically when someone opens the Power App, looking to see if the logged in user is in that list. And you also have the concept of the approvers and the actual levels of approval, and it going through an approval process and looking at who the approvers are, who the logged in user is, and see if they're an approver. So we'll go ahead and demo kind of all those just as much as we can in an hour. And another concept is something that I actually did for a customer where they had to have logic and look at kind of multiple groups people were in, is that we created SharePoint groups for this and let sort of the site admin, site manager people allow people, put people in the SharePoint groups. And then I created a PowerShell script that goes and iterates through the SharePoint groups and creates all those people in a SharePoint list and a list on the site. But then the PowerApp still uses the list. So that one's kind of kludgy, because then you'd still have to go run the script or, run it certain, if people are going to be changing the list, go run it every now and then or something like that. So it's not exactly the most smooth solution, because people getting added to the SharePoint group don't automatically get added to the SharePoint list. But just the concept of having a SharePoint list and defining your audiences that way is what I'm going to do. So this is not anything super technical. It's not anything with AD groups or SharePoint groups. It's just basically a list of people. So Jamie's first question is, what if you already have a formal SharePoint site with workflows? Would it break the form if you try to introduce PowerApps to that list, or is it just a different link you'd provide for testing? Well, the PowerApp is just a front end, Jamie. So when you have a SharePoint list, like this one that I'm going to show on the screen, maintenance requests, that the data is in the list. So the data, like if you already have workflows that are getting triggered off of stuff being added or changed in here, then there's nothing going to change, because your data is your data. Now, the PowerApp is just a front end that you're creating that is going to be the form that people are interfacing with. So that has no bearing on anything with workflows or data. All right, so Joe says, I think someone's rubbing their mic. I don't know, maybe that's one of us breathing. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and, I guess, Joe, I'll mute yourself until, I don't know what that, I didn't hear a sound, so I'm not sure what he's talking about. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this maintenance request list. And I'm going to just customize this from scratch. Let's see what I'm going to make sure, because I use this maintenance request list a lot, I'm going to make sure that I don't have a PowerApp on it already. And I'm just going to go to form settings and just in the list settings and delete using the SharePoint default form, and I'm going to delete the custom form that I created in PowerApps. So I'm just basically customizing this SharePoint list. Okay, and then, wow, that takes a minute. Okay, so that's done. So now let's just look at what my maintenance request looks like. It's pretty simple. So this could be just any type of request. It could be a leave request or an expense report or just yada yada, just any type. It doesn't matter what the form is. So that's kind of annoying that it says content type there. I've noticed that it's going to say content type until you go into your list settings and you advanced settings and turn off allow management of content types. So I'm going to do that just because I'm being OCD. Okay. Now we'll just go look at what it is. It is, I forgot to broadcast to Facebook. Let me do that real quick. I always forget that because I always wait till the last minute to start doing that. All right, here we go. Dun-dun, PowerApps, audience targeting. And go. Okay, so now we're broadcasting to Facebook too. So this is just the beginning of the demo. So this is just what my request looks like. It's just a subject, priority, what department I'm in, and then just some basic information. So I'm just making some sort of maintenance request of what I need to be fixed. And yeah, pretty basic. So not much to it. And again, because the whole idea around this is not, it doesn't matter what the request is, it could be anything. It's what we're talking about here is the concept of looking at who the currently logged in user is. So I do have a list called Approver Lookup that I've used in other demos. I'm going to look at that in a minute, but the first thing we're going to do is just create a list that's just got this concept of everyone else versus like form like the approvers or like admins. Not, I don't mean an IT admin. I mean like the people that are receiving like the IT help desk requests. They're just basically, you're just defining this group, small group of people versus everyone else in the company. So I'm going to go ahead and create just a quick custom list. And did y'all see the announcements at SBC about that whole new way that lists are going to look? It's so cool. I can't wait till that rolls out. I'm going to call this Form Admins. And again, this is instead of a SharePoint group. So we're not doing anything with permissions with these form admins, with actual SharePoint permissions. We're just going to define things in this request list that the form admins can do differently. So we'll do form admins, and then it's basically going to be a list of people. So let's go into the settings here, and I'm going to make the title so it's not required. And now I could just type an email address in the title field, but I'm going to do it the proper way and do it as a people field. Okay, admin name, person, that, people only, no multiple, and go. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and put myself in here. It doesn't really matter. There we go. I've got a couple of different, test users and stuff in here. Okay, so there is someone in the list, and just for fun, I'll add someone else. Let's see, Joelle. There you are. So we are both admins. And then we'll go ahead and I'm going to create in our maintenance request. I just want to have maybe something that I want the admins to see that I don't want other people to see. So let's just go look at, I'll just create some extra field of what I want them to be able to do. So I've got, I'll just do and I'm going to call this maintenance notes. And just a single line of text, just keep it simple. And there. But again, you could have a lot of fields that have this concept. You could have a whole section of stuff. But the idea is just to show you how this functionality works. Okay, so now I've got, let me make sure, I saw a couple of little residual things in here that had old SharePoint Designer workflows that I had put on this list. So let me make sure I don't have any of those running, just double check that. Because this is, I use this list for a lot of different demos and stuff. Just double check that. Oh, come on, SharePoint. Do you all have this, just kind of some feedback in the little chat room here? Do you all have this as a requirement in a lot of your forms, like different people being able to see different things in the form? Just kind of chat in here and let me know what, and some examples of forms that you create that have this type of requirement. Just what kind of request form is it? It could be fun. All right, so I removed any workflows that might be on there just before I start customizing it. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do PowerApps, customize forms. And I'm just customizing basically the default list form by doing this. So, okay, so Nicholas says yes. Zach says yes. So give me some examples about like what kind of request forms they are, just to kind of get people thinking. And it is building my app for me. All right, so there's my lovely, well, not so lovely, just kind of default form that it gives me. And the first thing I'm going to do is go in here and get rid of some of these extraneous fields that I don't want it to have, like created, modified. Actually, I can leave the created by in there. Could do some stuff with that. Subject status, and status might be another one that we don't want people to see unless they're in a certain group, like that. Let's see, status, feedback, priority, and we can rearrange them. So we can just go ahead and rearrange them right here on the form. Looks like that's pretty basic stuff. Created by. And then I can I like making the form bigger. So I'll go to my app settings. It's just something that I typically do, is just go ahead and make it landscape. Oh, Brad says, so Beth says event requests. Brad has asset tracking. Nicholas has a maintenance contract. Brad says new user onboarding. Perfect. Lots of very common stuff, right? So I'll take this and expand it out, and then I can go in here and just give it, just real quick, give it 2-column look there, just to save some real estate. And then, so then I expanded out the maintenance notes. All right, now I have my form, and it's customized, and I'm not going to do anything to make it look awesome or pretty. I'm not going to waste time doing that because I just want to build this logic. I want to show you. So let's go to the data sources, and I'll go ahead and add a data source. And so I'm going to add this other SharePoint list. So I'll go ahead and go to back to my site. So my SharePoint list, because I want to be able to just flip back and forth to my site if I need to. Where's SharePoint? It's always like way down. There it is. Okay, and then it's going to show me my recent sites here. And I have, I'll just paste it in there. Since that the resolution's so big, I can't really see what I'm doing in there. Just paste it. So first I pick my site, and then I can pick my list. And my list that I'm picking right here doesn't have to be in the same site as this form. It could be anywhere in SharePoint. It doesn't even have to be in the same site collection or anything. So just think about that. So I'll go ahead and pull in form admins, just connect to that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say whenever this app starts up, it's immediately going to grab a variable and get who the currently logged in user is and put in a variable. That way I can just use it in multiple places in my form. So I'm on my form screen. This thing only has one screen. So if your app has multiple screens, you're going to want to go to the first one in the list here. So this is the first one in the list. And I'm going to go to these are new, by the way, the loading spinner and loading spinner color. I will like go play with that and see what that does. But on start is what's going to happen when the app first starts up. So I'm going to set a variable, and I'm going to call it var current user email, and then I'm going to say what do I want it to be, and that is a little built-in function that lets me just get the currently logged in user's email, like that. So, and I can see what this looks like, so I can actually insert I like to do this just when I'm testing stuff, so I can see by putting a label just here on my form and just visually looking at what the value of the variable is right here. So this is only going to run on start. So let's save that. You don't have to click save and then publish and then all this stuff. I'm just going to do this since it's the first time. I'm going to publish that. So that's going to be the default form from now on. I guess, Joelle, if you have anything to say, just interrupt me, or if people are asking me something, just jump in there. Okay, so I'll go back to SharePoint and we'll just go quickly look at what this looks like. All right, I'm going to fill out a new maintenance request and look, it's nice and big. It takes up the screen. And again, this is a very large resolution. I didn't put the created by in here, and I can show you. That's something I might do in a few minutes, but that's going to be whoever filled this out. It's just the SharePoint created by field. Fix my window pane. I don't know. Status pending. Feedback department, and I can fill that in to default to the current users department, which we did in another Power Hour. And they can say what the priority is. And look, see, I can see who the logged in user. So that is the variable. So that's who I'm logged in as right now. So that's the value that that variable is storing. So I'll go ahead and save this. I didn't even put a submit button on here. I'm just going to click save, just that out of the box save functionality. And then I can go look at it. And I can see now the created by actually has my name in there. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I want to target certain things to be visible only to those admins. So I'll go ahead and customize the form again. And I'll do maintenance notes. Okay, so maintenance notes is going to be the thing that only if you're an admin you can see. And I've done this in production, like for customers. I've done this with certain buttons, like icon buttons that I create in the app, like that Hawaii one that I wrote the blog post about. There's a settings button. That settings button is only seen by like these certain people. So anything that you want to only be visible to these people, this is what you do. So I go, in this case, this is this whole card. But again, it can be any control in here. So go to the card and go to the visible. And so what I need to know, so first, I need to know if the current user is in that list of admins. So I need to, so I've already connected to the list of form admins and I have it in here as a data source. But I need to basically compare the currently logged in user to that list. So I need to have basically, is the currently logged in user in that list true or false? So I'm going to go ahead and do a, let's see, what's the most efficient way to do that? I can do a collect, and I can collect just something specific from that list, or I can like filter it or something like that. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to say on visible. I can do on start or on visible. So on start, to me, sometimes it makes the app take a little longer to load when I'm doing like collecting stuff like that, when it's on start and the little spinning thing. So for the on start, I usually do like pretty quick things like that little set of variable, but on visible, sometimes that's where I'll do my collections. So I'll do clear collect, and I'm going to create a collection, admin. This is where I'm giving it a name. And then what am I collecting? So this is where I'm going to go see if the currently logged in user is in that list. So I'll go do I can do a lookup, I can do a filter. So it's really they're gonna be in there one time or not. So either one of those would probably be work the same. So let's see, I'll do a lookup to, what am I looking up to? I'm looking up to form admins, that's my source. And then my condition is that, let's go look at, so admin name dot email. Now let's see if it gives us like any kind of delegation errors or anything like that. Equals their current user email. Oh, see, yeah, it is giving me the delegation errors. So that's going to be another reason to go ahead and decide whether I want to just go collect the whole thing first and then do the filter. And that's where you start getting into performance and like the best options for what you're given. So I'm going to go collect just the whole thing. That way I don't have to deal with the delegation thing. And this form admins list is not going to be a long list. So, you're not going to have to worry about it taking like 5 minutes to go collect all this stuff. So I'm just going to go collect that whole list and have that in here. Form admins. Okay. So I'm going to, let's see, I'll go ahead and preview that. Let's see if when I preview it, it does the collection. I might have to, just for testing, create a button that does it. So I'm previewing it. Let's go view my collections. And no, it didn't collect it yet. So I'll just do a button that does that so I don't have to keep going back to SharePoint and going back in. But when someone opens the app, it would actually do that. Zoom in a little on select. And I'm just going to do the same thing that I just did for this on visible. Again, this button is just to quickly mock up what I'm doing. Okay, so it did the collection real quick. So then I can go view my collection, and now I can see the two items in that SharePoint list. Remember I added myself and Joelle in there? So here's the admin name. See, it's got me, and then it's got Joelle in there too. Come on. All right, so we're both in there under admin name. So what I want to do is I'll go collect it, and then I want to show, again, the goal is to show or hide something according to whether the current logged in user is in that list. So I'm going to say, lookup. I could do it. There's so many different ways I can do this. It's just like, what's the most efficient way? Let's go back to my button, clear collects. So I'm going to collect that information. And then I'm going to go, could do set a variable. I could just show or hide something. Let's see, if, going to go straight to the visible thing. If current user, if lookup, lookup to the collection, admin name dot email, I know it expects a Boolean, that's okay. If the admin email equals var current user email, then true, otherwise false. If, oh, I didn't close my return the admin name. It's fine. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it just needs one first. And I'll show you why I'm doing this in a second once I get it working. Filter. Okay, I'm not going to put this straight on the visible thing right now. I'm just going to do a different little variable. Set var user admin to, and then it's going to be lookup to the collection where, notice that when I'm pointing to a collection, that admin name dot email doesn't give me that little delegation, little blue squiggly. Admin name email equals their current user email. Okay, and then close that. Okay, so let's click this button and see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to click play, click this button. So that one's doing the collection, and then it's setting a variable. So let's go visually look at what this variable is. So I can go view variables, and variable user admin is basically it contains that value that I'm collecting, that one record from the lookup that lets me know that the current user is in that list of admins. Okay, so then I'm going to show, let's just visually show this in here. So copy, paste that. So I want this one to show the var user admin value. Admin name dot. There, okay. So when it collected that whole record. So I had to go into the variable and into this field and into this specific part of the admin name. Now I could make it collect something more specific. So instead of it, let's see, set variable user lookup and admin name dot email equals var current user. So it's getting that entire record. So that's why I just had to drill down further. So that's fine. So I can just see that value is in there, though. That's the idea, is that I want to know that it looked at the currently logged in user and it went and collected that value, and only if they're in that list. So then my maintenance, where did my little maintenance data card go? Maintenance notes. It has no visible property in it at all right now. So if, let's see, there, if is blank is empty, var user admin, then false, otherwise true. Okay, so if that user variable saying that the currently logged in user is a form admin, then the visibility is false. So if it's empty, then the visibility is false. It's kind of like some reverse logic, right? It's a lot of logic. Okay, so it shows it, otherwise it doesn't. Let me just show you. We'll have to prove that it works, and then we'll have to I'll have to put this in all this stuff that I did to test. I'll put this in the on visible. And you guys are probably sitting there going, oh, I can think of a more efficient way, or you do this and this. So, there are probably several different ways you could go about this. But I'll go ahead and go back to SharePoint, save and publish. And then just go open one of these and see that I'm a form admin. And then I'll take myself out of the list. That way I don't have to go log in as multiple people. I'll just take myself out of the form admin list and then open it up again. Okay, so I'm going to go just open an existing one, and I can see that it has maintenance note. Let me go ahead and edit that. These are just for admins. All right, and then it's weird that it's not showing that variable in there. Sometimes I actually might have to make this refresh. So let me hard refresh. Sometimes I can tell that some changes that I've done in the Power App are not showing in the Power App that I'm filling out. So you can do a hard refresh, or sometimes I kind of test it by changing a color or changing something. So now I can see that other variable that I stuck in there is actually showing in here. So now I know that my changes are in. So this is a test. Save. Okay, do y'all understand this concept of, yeah, Nicholas, reverse logic, welcome back to InfoPath logic. As long as you can understand logic, you can pretty much figure these out. Okay, so now I'm going to go to that list and go to form admins, and I'm just going to take myself out of the list, and that way I should not see that maintenance request notes thing. Okay, so I deleted myself from form admins. Now I need to make sure it goes away. Okay, so now it's gone. And I'll go back to my maintenance request list. And let me make sure and just do a hard refresh here so it knows. Okay, now let's go open one. Okay, I can see them. I'm not in the list. Let's see. This is interesting. So this is a test, but I can still see it. So the visibility is looking at whether the logged in user is equal to that item in here, but there's no item in there. So let's go look at that. Now, this is why we're doing this live, because I don't know what we're going to find. And I knew that that was going to be the case before I started, because we're just working through it and kind of pondering different scenarios and ways to do it. Let me see. Let me open another window real quick. Okay, so it sees that I'm not in the list, and where's my visibility? Is empty. Is, I think I need to do is blank. Yeah, I did is blank. So is empty is more like if it's a list of stuff, is blank is if it's a single thing. So I did is blank, it looked like it worked. So let me save and publish that. So that was pretty simple. Click back to SharePoints. Oh, there it goes. So we'll just test it one more time. So if that could have just been all it was is empty versus is blank. Let me do a hard refresh to make sure that it has the changes I just made. And I'll go open one of these. Yeah, so there my maintenance notes are missing because I'm not in the admin list. Yay, okay. All right, so that's the first solution. Do y'all get that? Do you have any questions about what I just did? We'll just go over kind of all the moving parts to what I just did. And it's kind of broken down into baby steps, the way it collects and then kind of filters, and so I've got a couple different variables. So okay, so when I start this app, it's just grabbing what the current user's email is to see who that current user is. And then on visible of this start screen, basically, it's collecting a collection of just all the form admins. And then it's setting a variable of, it's basically looking up into that collection of admins to find just the currently logged in user. So it's looking up to the collection where the admin name email is equal to the current user email. So probably if I was making this more efficient, I might be able to break this down into less steps, but this is a great way of kind of breaking it down so you can see the various steps involved here. So it's clear, collect, and then it's doing a set, and I can kind of even break these apart by doing a shift enter. So yeah. All right. Okay, so then it's then it's basically going to have this variable that's storing this value only if the currently logged in user is in that list. And then are you guys thinking about, like, do you PowerApps gurus know of like a more efficient way to do that? Probably maybe with not collecting it twice or something like that. Then we go to that one field that's got the maintenance notes. Oh, good. It's hidden. Okay. Card maintenance notes, which is like way up here because it's hidden because it's just in this weird spot. So, but that is the right card. See, maintenance notes. And on the visibility of the whole card, we're doing if it's blank. So visible can only equal false or true. So if this variable saying whether, like if the current user is in that admin list, if it's blank, then this card is hidden, so visibility is false. Otherwise, visibility is true. So that's how we did that. Okay, so the next step is going to be using that lookup list for approvers and being able to go through like an approval process. Now, it's already 11:40. We've only got 20 minutes left, so we can just do as much of this as we can. And we do teach a PowerApps class. Now, the PowerApps class is more of a formal, structured way of learning this, all kind of in order. This SharePoint Power Hour is really just kind of diving in and doing just one little quick solution, but we don't really give you any fundamentals in SharePoint Power Hour. But we do have a class coming up the week of June 18th. That's a live online, so you can come in and it's interactive, and we discuss and we ask questions, and we have labs, and you can work through your labs every day. We have quizzes. It's really fun. So you guys check that out at iwmentor.com. All right, so I'm going to go to my data sources, and I'm going to add that approver lookup list. SharePoint. And let me just grab that URL. Oh yeah, so Joe says he puts all his field he doesn't want the user to see under a separate tab, and then hide that tab when the form mode is new. If the user went back to edit, they would see the tab, but in his case it's okay. So yeah, and I wrote a whole blog post about how to do a way to do tabs in PowerApps, but you could just, instead of hiding like a card like I did here, you could just hide the actual tab button itself, and then or you could even go hide a whole bunch of different cards, or you could hide a button that takes you to another screen, just any different way depending on what your requirements are and what your form is. So now I have approver lookup. So I'll go ahead, and now I have to create the logic that looks to see if the current user, which I'm already obtaining, is in the approver lookup. So I will, let's see, I'm going to do this one a different way. So this first one I did a collect, and then I set another variable. But this one I'm just going to kind of go about it a different way and just show you that there are multiple ways to do stuff in here. So I'll do it on this button first. So after we do all this, we're going to go set var approver to, well, first of all, this approver list is, let me delete this real quick. Let's go a little bit into what the approver list is. Approver lookup. Okay, so in this case, it's going to be depending on what their department is when they fill out the form, they're going to have a different approver. So we're going to need to look at the department field when they fill out their maintenance request. So first of all, when you fill out a new request, I want it to go look at the department field and then go figure out who the approver is right then. So we can do that. We could do that when, there are different kind of places when we can do that. We can do that as soon as the field is populated here. Then it can go look up that information, and we'll just do that. Okay, so I'm going to, and this could be a drop-down box. Right now it's just a text box, but I'm just leaving it as a drop-down box. And theoretically, you could say maybe it's not editable, that their department comes from AD and they can't change it. So that way it doesn't really matter if it's text box or drop-down box. And maybe I don't think we'll have time to add in that part because we already did that in a separate Power Hour. But I'm going to go unlock this card, and I'm going to insert a label in here, and I'm going to say in this label lookup. Lookup is my command, and I'm going to go to the approver lookup. And the condition is that the approver, see there's VP and VP email. So I'm going to say VP title. I think the title is where I put the name of the department. Yeah, so the department is actually the title field in SharePoint. So it's department, but again, so title, which is department, equals, and then that's where I need to know what department is in this box right here. So this box is called, and I'm going to give it a better name. I like to do that in here, make it more useful. So I'll call it TXT EPT. So it's going to be the department value. So say title equals department value dot text, and then return the VP, basically. I think it's called VP. I'll just do VP. Return VP, or do I need to return something more specific? Yeah, return VP dot, you can do display name. I'll just do email. And you could do a separate text box that shows their display name too. You could do two different ones. Okay, look at that. Cool. So let me zoom in a little and preview that. It immediately is looking at the approver lookup and showing me, so as soon as the department gets filled in, it's showing me who the approver is. So let me try another one, HR. And that's me, I'm in HR. And again, I'll change it back to, change it back to IT. And it's thinking about it. Yeah, Billy is IT. Okay, so now this text, let me give this label a better name in here. So let me give this label, let's see, approving VP. So that's the VP of that department, and that's the person that's going to be approving it. So then the next thing to do is if you have like maybe status or something like that is the one that we want the VP to be able to edit. So for this logic, let's just say that everyone else can see it, and if you're the VP, that you can change the status. So that's going to be what our logic is. And this is just a text box too, keep it simple. So I'll unlock this one, and I'm going to say, let's see, it's not going to be the visibility this time. Last time it was visibility because I just wanted to completely hide it from everyone else except the admins. This time I'm going to make it, I'm going to do the display mode of the status. So if the currently logged in user is this person, so it's going to compare the value in this label right here to the current user email, and then it's going to give you, basically this is going to be editable or not. So the display mode for this whole card is going to be an if statement. So if, let's see, var current user email equals, and then just the value that's in this label right here. And that is LBL approving VP equals LBL approving VP dot text. Yes, Nicholas, you can make that a drop down for department. If then it's gonna be display mode dot edit, otherwise display mode dot view. All right, look at that. So now automatically, look, since I'm not Billy, I'm logged in as admin, I immediately see this as read-only. Isn't that cool? So this is read-only now. So let's go, I'm just going to quickly change this to HR department because that's who I happen to be the approver for. And I can see that's me. And now, all of a sudden, pending status is editable. And I could make that a drop-down too, of course, and I could make it so that, you know, anyway. Cool. So I didn't even publish this or anything yet, but I'll go ahead and publish it and kind of prove what we're doing. And then I could also just quickly default that to the currently logged in users department and make it read only and just do a couple of extra things in the next 10 minutes. Okay, so we've got, I'll just go ahead and open one up to edit it. And this one has, come on, a Department of IT. And remember I took myself out of the form admins list, and I didn't put that stuff in the on visible, did I? Or did I? No, we're good. Okay, so department is IT. So I'm not the VP for the department IT, but let's see what happens. Oh wait, yeah, no, my changes are not in there yet. Hold on a second. Let's go. Did I add something to the logic that I need to be on form load? Oh, yeah, I did. And I didn't put it in the on visible. I just had it in that button when I was. I think I did that when I was testing it. Let me check. Sorry about that. Come on, PowerApps. No, I didn't do anything additional in the button. I just hadn't refreshed it, that's all. I just needed to do a hard refresh to see my changes in there. Okay, let's try again. Oh yeah, so department is IT. I am not the approver, so I can't edit the status. But, and of course you can make this so they can't edit it, but I'll change it to HR real quick because I know that I am the VP for that one, just to show this to you. And now this is editable, and of course it could be, drop down, and I can change it to approved. And you could, have an actual approve button and have approval comments and all, but really I wanted to show you the logic of them being able to see something or edit something based on who they are. Now we'll go ahead and add just a little couple of extras in here. So you notice when it was a new form, the created by was blank. It didn't have anything in it because it was brand new and it hadn't been saved yet, so it didn't know who it was created by. Todd says, could someone who's not the department approver still get around this in the list with quick edit? Yes, so you'd want to turn off quick edit if you were going to do that. Yep. And that goes for a lot of logic that you do in PowerApps, is that quick edit could just get around it. So yeah, just turn off quick edit if you have important logic like that in your form. Or give them, or don't put that particular field in the view, and don't give them the ability to create views. That's another way that you can make sure they're not going to edit it in quick edit. Okay, so when the item is first being created, remember created by was blank. So that's just, there's one way we can kind of get around that by just inserting a label just on top of this. And you can just say, let's see, what is that? Data card. I'm going to rename that. I like renaming these. The whole data card and all that stuff is such a mess to deal with. And I have this little new thing, and I want to make it just have the same font as that other, same font size as that other box. Size equals txt created by name dot size. There, now it's bigger. Now it kind of matches that. So then we want this to show only when it's a new item, and we want it to just show the currently logged in users name, user, full name. So that's going to show the currently logged in user's full name, and we only want it to show when the form is brand new, just to kind of, so that they'll look like there's something there. Visible equals if, let's see, oh no, I'll just do form mode equals new. Form mode equals new. So it's only going to show if form mode equals new, and I'll put it right there. And back to SharePoint. So visible just has to equal true or false. So when I typed form mode equals new, when that evaluates to true, then therefore you're going to see that control will be visible. All right, let's do a new form. Let me hard refresh just in case. I only have 5 minutes left. Why is it so slow? Oh, come on, PowerApps. That's just ridiculous. Go a little faster. Joelle, we got a tap dance. So, oh my goodness, what do you do in PowerApps? I'm gonna try that again. That was weird. Did I break it? That is odd. Makes me think I broke it. Just in time for us to wrap up. It's just completely not responding.
Good times.
There we go. Now it's doing the little dots going across, or it's collecting, and it is not showing at all. Okay. It makes me think my changes didn't go in. See, I can't tell if my changes went in or if my logic is just not working. So one thing I could do is I could go back in and edit, and I could just like change something really obvious, like a color or something, and then I would know. No. One thing, so troubleshooting, fun stuff. One thing I can do is actually visibly show what the form mode is. Visibly show what the display mode is. Visibly show the values so I'll know what I'm comparing. So let's see, I can go, instead of this other thing that I was showing here, I can just say forms, SharePoint form 1 dot form dot mode. So it says edit right there. There's a form mode too. I feel like there's a form mode. Because form mode, it's like display mode is like edit or view. And form mode is like new, edit. Let me just see what that value is. Because I don't want it to show when we're editing one. I just want it to show when it's new. But I've done this before. Maybe I forgot the syntax. Text. Where's my little... Oh, there's my label. And that's the one with the user full name. Oh, I didn't put it in the form. Let me see. I'll cut that. And go unlock this, and then I'll put it in the card. Okay, so let's go see the visible form mode. Okay, now I have to go back to SharePoint to replicate, like doing a new form, just to see if it works. So if the label wasn't actually in the form, it was just sitting outside, like I had it just on the screen somewhere, that I believe would make a difference. So we'll do that one more thing, and then we'll wrap it up. Could someone who was not okay. So any other questions, you guys? Want to throw in any last questions since we're about to be done? Now, again, I don't know. cancel, refresh. Should have changed the color or something so I could tell if it worked. I might have had to type the name of the form too instead of just form mode. That little dialog box didn't give me much to work with. Yeah, it says edit. Yeah, see, that's not what I want. Yeah, I need to get this working before we finish, right? So you guys type your questions in. Let me know if you think this is gonna be useful. And then, you have the whole aspect of like the actual going through the approval process, like sending all the emails and stuff. But you can do all that directly in PowerApps too. You don't even have to use Flow. Okay, so that is my label 2. I'm gonna call it LBL new current visitor. And then I'm gonna put the visible Sharepoint form 1 dot display mode equals new. Oh yeah. I think it's called form mode. Parent dot mode. That's maddening. I have it in a slide. I'm gonna look it up. It's driving me nuts. How long could that possibly take, right, Joelle? Mm-hmm. I'm not giving up on this one. And it's always just some little weird syntax, and you spend half your time, right, Joelle, with these like looking through like the syntax and Googling it, Binging it, whatever.
Oh yeah, definitely.
When you're doing these, just like with PowerShell or anything else, it's like you spend half your time like trying to find the exact syntax of everything.
Tweaking it, yep. Testing it, tweaking it again.
I know where it is. I'm just gonna go find that one little spot in our training class where I talk about lookup. Lookup fields. We have a whole big part where we talk about lookups and like the complex field types. There we go, complex fields. Sorry about this. They can just fast forward it when they're looking at this later. Sorry, I can't find it. It's form mode equals new, but it's not. I can't find it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know. Dead air. I'll just edit it out, or not. Oh yeah, it's dot, okay, it's dot mode. Sharepoint form 1, I found it. Unless they changed it. No, oh, see, there it is, dot mode equals new. That's what it was, see? Okay, now, so it's the name of the form, dot mode. So that's not, doesn't give me any errors, does it? No? Okay. Okay, back to SharePoint. Sorry. Everybody's like taking a nap or Joe says, do you know if PowerApps will eventually work with permission groups? I do not know. I'm not sure. But it does, I mean, think it does work with, no, I'm not going to try and answer that. Let's see. Okay, hard refresh one more time, and so it's just mode for the whole form mode. See, there it is. It works now. So it's the name of the form dot mode, and that's going to be equal to new, and that's different than the display mode, which is either edit or view, and that's for an individual like control in here for an individual card or something that you could do, where you could just set a card like I did for status to have a display mode of like edit or view. So see, this is what I was going for, was the item is new, it hasn't been created yet, but I'm still showing the logged in user's name, and it's only visible when it's a new item. So there, that's the end. That was it. Let me flip back over. Okay, that was a fun one. That was just, the typical concept of looking at who the logged in user is and showing them certain things in your form. So with the logic you learned with looking at the user, comparing them to being in a SharePoint list or an approver list based on department, then you can take that logic you learned and be able to apply that and be creative and apply that in lots of different ways in your business solutions. Thanks, Joelle. And thanks, everybody. I don't know what we're doing next week. Maybe some of the new stuff that they announced at SPC will roll out. What do you think, Joelle?
Hopefully.
I'm excited about that. Cool. Y'all have a good afternoon. Happy Wednesday.
Bye.
I got to give it a couple seconds for the delay.